everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest today is Raushawna Price, the giver of awesomeness. That's so fun. I love that title. She is fiercely focused on defining bullying behaviors to support growth and healing for all she encounters. Her systematic approach allows her clients to conduct deep explorations into their bullying situations and uncover hidden talents, increase confidence, and safer behaviors to move forward. Raushawna's education, coupled with her professional experience, makes her dynamic, galvanizing, and real. She is a certified coach, international speaker, and the author of the book, Be a Giver of Awesomeness. Raushawna continues to bring awesomeness to her clients while also enjoying CrossFit-style workouts and jigsaw puzzles in her spare time. I welcome to the show the awesome Raushawna Price.
Hello, glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Oh, this topic is going to be very, very good. We haven't had that on the show. There is times where I feel like I have a lot of the same thing and the same kind of genre of people and guests and stuff, and this is going to be completely different. I'm so much looking forward to this conversation. Okay, so my first question to you, and we're going to get into a deep dive tonight, guys. I'm just going to let you know before we even start. This is going to be really something. So you're going to want to stay tuned. I just want to let you know that first. My first question to you is, what lit the fire for you to want to become an entrepreneur in the first place?
It was really about feeling like I gotta get out. I was sick at work. My blood pressure was like 150 over 97. Yeah, like I got really sick in a matter of about 3 months, and everything was starting to spiral. Stomach aches, headaches. I'd wake up in the morning and I had been clenching my jaw all night because of the stress and anxiety of work. And I was being bullied, and I was like, I've got to do something else. And I had tried other businesses, had owned a franchise with a partner, a fitness franchise called Fit for Mom. And so I said, well, I think I can take my talents and do something else. And so that's how I started my business.
That's cool. But it is tough though, because like I said, I've been in the situation where my health was really, really, really bad, and did cost me a job and whatever, but it's totally different circumstances. I love the people I worked with. I thought they were awesome people, and that it was just more of a, for me, it was a little bit different. I didn't suffer from the bullying like you did. Normally at this point I ask other questions, but I think I'm going to go into a different direction tonight just because they're based on the subject content. Can you explain a little bit more about your situation at work and what was causing so much stress?
Sure, absolutely. It really started with a leadership transition, and almost from the beginning, it was snarky comments. Oh, you think you're so good. Oh, you must think you're the best one here. You can keep that. Like these little things that were small. And then it was in a meeting with colleagues. Look at me when I'm talking to you in the meeting. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, am I getting punked? Like, is Ashton Kutcher going to come from behind?
Sorry, that was funny.
No, seriously. And I remember just trying to hold it together in the meeting. But after the meeting, my colleagues could see my pulse in my neck. It was throbbing so hard.
Wow.
And I had so much pain, in my stomach and in my head. I wasn't sure if I was going to vomit or throw up or maybe both. And so I ended up having to leave for the day. And I knew then that something wasn't right, but I'm one of those people that's like, I can fix this. This can get better. This is okay. Yeah. But it didn't get better. It only got worse. Yeah.
So do you, in that situation, at least in my opinion, I think that person was afraid of you.
See, that's what most people talk about, right? It's the whole concept that it's that person who's afraid of me.
Yes.
Yes. But also they chose me for a reason. And so the thing that I spent a lot of time doing was going through all of the things that were said and done to me because they chose me for a reason. And that thing is what I wanted to understand.
Wow. I'd like to understand that a little deeper as well. Can you explain that further?
Yeah. So let's take the one phrase, like, look at me when I'm talking to you. So in the moment, it was funny and not funny. And it was like, is this serious? But I wrote 4 pages of notes around that phrase, because in order for them to say that and specifically direct it at me when there were other people in the room, meant that they needed me to look at them. So why did they need that from me? What was it that I gave them? And so what I realized in talking to other people who do love me, who do respect me, when I'm in front of someone or when I'm with someone, I give them energy, I give them passion, right? And so even a bully might need that from me. Even a person who doesn't care for me still needs that. And the other thing is they thought of me. That was another thing I remember writing down, right? In order for you to direct it towards me, that means you thought of me. That means I'm valuable. And that is why I talk about being a giver of awesomeness, because someone else might see your awesomeness before you do. And if my presence mattered in that meeting, then of course my presence matters in other places. I just get to be responsible for where that is.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love how you take ownership of that. And then also how you can find that in that negative that you're needed. And I'm not necessarily needed here, but I'm needed.
But I'm needed. And the fact that, and that's where my power is. And the fact that you just said that to me tells me now I get to decide, versus some of the other conversations we have about bullying. It is about that other person. And while it might make you feel good in the moment, it can be very disempowering, because it's like, well, what do I do with that? Well, they're over there having their thing, but it's affecting me. What I help my clients do, what I want to make sure every person who's ever experienced bullying as an adult especially, is that you have choices and you have power, and they're choosing you for a reason. They didn't go to somebody else. They're coming for you. That means you have a gift.
How did you deal with that situation?
So at first I had like more than 72 hours of righteous indignation, like,
I would have.
for sure.
I might not have been so nice.
I mean, so in the moment, every time it happened, because it got progressively worse. At first, it was behind closed doors, just the two of us. Then it was in meetings in small settings. The last encounter was in the cubicle setting, right, for the whole office, to where afterwards people came and were apologizing on that leader's behalf.
Wow.
And I said then, I remember thinking, I just cannot be a part of this picture of leadership, because now that people know that this is happening, people do what people see. And so they'll start to mimic it and model it with each other. And I was like, I don't want any parts of this. And so that's another reason why I decided, like when I went to the doctor was like, you can't go back to work. And I was like, you're probably right. This is a good thing. And then I went through, and after I got over the hurt and the anger and the shame of it all, because there was a part of me that was like, I'm strong, right? Like I lift weights, I do heavy things, big things. And so I had to give myself time to grieve the loss of what I thought my career was going to look like, what I thought I was going to be doing, how I thought I was going to impact the world around me, to then be open to all of the things that I then learned about myself. And that's why I'm adamant about giving all that I have now, because I'm like, oh, well, if that was the reason I needed to then get myself together to start a business and help others, then I'm all for that.
And I've known, because I've done this a little bit.
Okay.
Your face just lights up when you talk about it. It's your passion. It's what you want to give to the world. You want to give them awesomeness. And I love that word. I'm sorry.
Yes. And everybody has it. And I also believe that sometimes it is the hard things that I call them the ABCs of life.
Yep.
Right. Adversity, bullying, conflict, difficulty that brings it out. Mm-hmm. And it's only when you encounter those things that then that awesomeness comes. It's like that gift that's been waiting for you to encounter the hard thing. Now it's like, all right, you're ready.
Let it loose.
Yes. Like Captain Marvel. If you're
Yeah.
Unleash.
That's a good analogy, actually.
See, I love superheroes.
Yeah, me too. I like them.
Um,
I was watching what was it, DC's Justice League earlier today for just a little while. I never finish a movie, but I did get to watch some of it.
yeah,
And it was one with Aquaman and Batman. He said, "So you dress up like a bat?" It was just kind of
I love,
funny.
I love it. Yeah, the superheroes are what inspired the characters in my book, the Awesomeness Stealers,
Nice.
because I
No,
want to help. Oh, go ahead.
oh, define that. What is awesomeness stealers?
So, an awesomeness stealer is anyone who sees your gift and talent and wants to use it against you.
Ooh.
Yes.
So
They
how
may
would
use
they do that?
it
So they
before you
use your gifts and talents against you. Ooh,
against you. So, one of the characters is a deceiver, and the
that makes sense.
deceiver intentionally holds back information as a way to control you.
Mm.
See, look, you're like, yeah,
I've
yeah,
ran into that guy. I mean, a few of them.
right. And you don't know it because you're operating in your awesomeness, but they're only giving you pieces and snippets because they know that they don't have to give you all of what you need because you're going to operate out of your awesomeness anyway, but they're using that to make you do certain things or position you a certain way. I like to think about it like on a project. I was on a project, this happened to me, where someone was using my awesomeness because I'm a starter. I'm one of those people that if you're like, I've got an idea, like a little bit of information, I'll take that little bit of information and go with it and create. And so they were deceiving me because I didn't know that the rest, what I was starting, they were taking and presenting as their own work to a
Oh,
bigger, broader group of people.
okay.
And that happens a lot at work, and we don't talk about that as bullying.
But it is, it's theft, in a
It's
way. I
theft.
mean, but it's also manipulation too.
It's manipulation. And you know, anytime that you've encountered an awesomeness stealer, when you want to turtle in some way, that's the best illustration. When you want to hide almost or play small because you've had this encounter that
Mm.
sometimes you can't even name it. You're just like, what was that?
And
That's what you,
I've grown up being kind of like, being bullied, that type of thing. But I fought. I mean, I'd get my butt kicked, but I would fight. I would not just allow it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, I think that there's some of that in me that when I hear this stuff, I get so, internally angry because, and it's not something that's a terrible thing. It's just a just anger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's that you want to fight for what's right and what you,
And for people that are being stomped on,
yeah.
because that's just, for me, that's a hard thing. Do
Absolutely.
you, so you're awesomeness stealers. How many are them are there?
I have 5 in my book I talk about. Yes,
5.
5.
Okay. We're gonna
Yeah.
have
Do
to
you want me
get
to run them
we'll have
down
to
for
get
you?
huh? Yeah, you can do that if it doesn't give away too much of the
Oh,
book.
no,
We don't
it
want to give
doesn't.
everybody everything here.
It's okay. So the deceiver, there's the, and I talked about that. And then there's the hoarder, people that want to keep you close.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't think about that. There's resentment there too. And then there's the penalizer. They hold back emotion from you as a way to punish you for what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
My favorite is the minimizer, somebody that gets joy out of making you feel small.
Oof.
And then the taker, those are the people who take your moments of joy and make you feel bad about something good. You get promoted or you get a great opportunity and you share it with them. And then all of a sudden they're like, how come you didn't invite me on your podcast, Jim? How come I
Oh,
don't get to travel with you all around the world? I
right.
never get to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, was I supposed to invite you? Wait,
Well,
wait.
and I would say to that, like I say, why can't I be? I said, well, you could have, I say, that type of thing. Because I mean, so as a person that's kind of out there, I deal with haters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I deal with people that are, so I don't know what this would be as one of your characters, but I'm just going to explain this real quickly. I'm not going to name names because I think that's petty.
Right.
But there was an individual who said, yeah, everybody in our group just laughs at you and this and that and trying to make me feel small. My response was, when you were first starting out, I'm pretty sure people laughed at your dreams too
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
just left it at that. Have a good day.
Yeah, that's a way to shut somebody down.
But it was a thing of, just trying to be mean
Mhm.
out of nothing, out of just getting a kick out of being nasty to somebody. And I
Yeah.
call this group of entrepreneurs elitists. They think they're better than everyone else. They don't have a heart for anybody else, but anybody that can make them money. Is pretty much the way it is.
Yeah, that's sad. That's empty.
It's very empty. But I see that. But I also see the heart-led entrepreneurs that I have. A lot of people on this show are that way. It's so emotional for them
Mm-hmm.
because it's their mission. And that's how it is for you.
Yeah, it's personal for me. It's like even if I wanted to do something else, the hound of heaven won't let me.
I get that. I get the mission. I do. It's almost like a destiny in a way.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely. Yeah, I never thought about it quite like that, but it is.
Yeah, this is who you were made to be.
Mm-hmm.
The advocate for people who can't stick up for themselves.
Yes. The advocate, and to help them see, like, yes, like even the worst person, even if someone said the worst thing, you're ugly, you're like a dog, even for them to form that thought, they had to think of you. So you're memorable. You're
true.
Uniquely made and memorable. Start there.
Start there. This is such a good conversation. I can feel the energy from here. So let's go into a little bit more about adult bullying and why you think that it's not talked about so much these days.
I think it's not talked about, especially in a work corporate setting, is because there are enough apologetic onlookers that know it's happening and apologize after the meeting for it, but they aren't wanting to say anything because they're secretly glad it's you and not me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When we all have to, especially because there's a lot of focus in corporate, especially now, Scrum Masters are out there, collaboration, bringing everyone to the table. So because everyone has to come to the table, we still are humans, and there is a survival of the fittest mentality. It's like innate in who we are. So if we know that there's a bully that's there, and that bully is always directing their comments towards one person, the goal is to not be that one person.
Exactly.
That's survival.
And my mindset is crazy about this stuff because I'm like, hey, we've got like 6 of us. We could take this dude.
I'm with you. Like there's a thing that could happen. Yeah.
I know my mentality is totally different. And so we have been through some crazy stuff. I really have. Okay. So I back when I was younger, I was attending this youth group church, and it was a youth group, and one of our friends got hit in the back of the head with something like a pipe or some type of thing. So I live in a pretty fun neighborhood, and so we just all got up and went looking for these people. And that's kind of the way it went around there. We had a bunch of us, and we were like, no, we ain't letting this go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the mentality of certain people these days is kind of, oh, that's not my situation. I'm going to stay out of it because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to be the one having my finger, have somebody pointing their finger at me. I don't want to get fired. I don't want this and I don't want that. Whereas it used to be, we'd all band together and, do what we had to do,
There was more community around it.
Absolutely.
At home. Yeah. Now there's a lot of parallel play. So when you study toddlers and how they play together side by side, there's a lot of that happens at work. There's a lot of it that happens in communities and home groups and all of that. So I think that's why people don't want to say like, I'm going to be in this fight with you and then like really be in it.
Yeah. And really have your back instead of, like Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's like, I thought you had my back. I thought you were watching my back. And a guy goes, yeah, your back just got beat like 3 times.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Something
Yes.
like
Or
that.
the pity of like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's the other.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like
It's like,
that
don't be
space.
sorry for me.
No,
This was
don't
the
be
best thing
sorry
that
for me.
happened.
So I think another thing that might be going on here is pride, because people don't want to be telling everybody that they're bullied, especially as adults.
Shame. Yes.
Shame.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
The other side of the pride is the shame of it.
Mhm.
Because when you say it happened to me without any real deep understanding of why, the shame is that I'm the victim. And that because that's how we classify bullying a lot of times, even when we think about it from a child perspective,
Mhm.
it's this bully, victim, villain mentality. But as adults, the difference is that we don't have to have that. We don't have to have victim and villain. We can have this situation happen. I'm equipped to learn from it. I can move forward. I have choices. I'm empowered.
Instead of feeling like you don't have any power, which is
Exactly.
what a bully wants to do to you.
They would do. They want to keep you small. They want to stop you in your momentum, or they want to control you in some way, use it to their advantage.
So you teach this, and what do you find in teaching, or if you've had clients or other people that have went through this, how do they cope or deal with it?
Most of the time, people shove it down,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a story about someone else. That's not me. That didn't happen to me.
Right.
So the first thing that I do is help them own it.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you own it, it's yours and you can decide what you do with it and the power and control it has over you or not.
Wow. Yeah, true. Because everything that happens to you is basically on you. I believe that.
I believe
Maybe
it.
that's a little harsh, but I do think that you have choices. I do think that you can get out of those situations if you choose to. It takes courage. It does. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of self-awareness, but I think that that is totally possible, that it's on you, maybe not on them. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I agree 100%. I think every bully that comes is a gift. They come,
Wow.
yeah, they come with a gift. It's your job to unwrap it. Every word they say, every facial expression, comment, situation, everything is a gift because they chose you. So the fact that they chose you and then whatever they said to you, you can pick that language apart because it matters. The reason they phrased it that way is because it matters. Your job is to listen intently and and even if you had the feelings, because we're human, the feelings come, the hurt, the shame, all of that, have that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But what I try to really hard and what I do with my clients and focus them in is like, don't go to the people that are going to amen you. When you tell them the story, they're going to be like, yeah, Jim, that guy's a jerk. Or yeah, girl, she's terrible. No, you want to go to people like that's why you want to talk it out so that you have a chance to process it and move forward in a healthy way and not spin in the cycle of the story. Because the story is not the thing, it's the gift that you uncover that's important.
That is so deep. People may not even understand how deep that really is. Because if you start telling the story, you get wrapped up in the story and continue to be a victim the whole time.
The whole time.
Where in your story will keep going to the yes people and keep going to your friends that you know are going to agree with you. And when they agree with you, you get more angry and you get all these things keep going up and it keeps going in this vicious circle. You stay the victim.
Yeah, you do. And you don't have to. I mean, I had a client in 10 minutes. She had her former boss. She's like, you can share this story with whoever needs it. A former boss came to her and said, you need to come back and work for me because you're the one who's respected. You're the one who has the institutional knowledge and you're the executor. I'm the visionary. and she was offended. And so she called me offended. She was on like 35, right? I'm like, bring it down to 2. Bring it to 2.
35.
Right? Like, bring it to 2. And I said, tell me everything that was said. And we walked through all of those things. And in less than 10 minutes, he had gifts on a platter. I'm like, what would you do in an organization if you had institutional knowledge, you were respected, and you were an executor? What would you do?
You'd be amazing.
You'd be awesome. Go be awesome.
Yeah, none of those things are bad things. So I was trying to figure out, what do you, maybe it was the way it was said, but it just seems like there wasn't anything bad there.
Yeah, but our minds want to tell us a story because we may have history with someone.
Yeah.
Or because this has happened before, or because of the package it comes in, right? So there's association of sorts with, well, this is another man or this is a woman, and now all of a sudden I'm going to take this one thing. And we really have to get clear on separating it. Every encounter is its own situation, and we have to break it down to get the gift.
Absolutely. Just, hey, you're very, very educated on this. I can tell.
I love it. It's like,
it's very deep.
It is. I haven't even talked about, like, if you're a person that believes and is spiritual, how all this links in.
Well, we can do that because this is my show. We talk about whatever my guest wants to talk about.
Oh, well, great. Okay. So, all right. So we're just going to talk about Jesus then for a minute. Because,
yes, we can.
So in Mark chapter 8, when Jesus encounters the 2 men that are demon possessed, and we talk about that story a lot and how he casts the demons out and they go into the pig pen, into the pigs that are over there in the herd, and then they go off on the side of the road. That's a great story because it talks about how Jesus was able to save these 2 men. But when we think about, really, they talk in the Bible, it says that the men were very violent. Okay, so bullies are violent sometimes. They can be some of the hardest people that we deal with. But those violent demons said to Jesus, Son of God, will you allow us to go over? They tell him who he is and the power that he has. That's exactly what bullies do for us. They tell us who we are and the power that we have.
Wow, that's some insight right there. Whew.
Yeah. Every time. So
in your opinion, do you think that bullies are just there to steal your, well, we'll use the word awesomeness?
Yeah. I think what I know and what I've experienced is that they see something that you don't yet see. They see an inner awesomeness, a gift, a talent. It could be so much of who you are that you take it for granted. It's so just
where does the violent aspect come in?
I think the violent aspect, when people are physically violent with another person, it's because they run out of words. And usually when we look at bullying from a child standpoint and even an adult standpoint, it's an escalation to that. It doesn't start out physical. It starts out verbal.
Right.
It starts out in small group settings. In my experience specifically, it was behind closed doors. Then it got to be in public. But the bully is searching for the high. And that's why they come back to you, because you give them what they need. And the fact that they keep choosing you is the awesomeness. Your job is to figure out, what is it about me? And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because they keep choosing you.
Wow. So do you think because there has to be a little bit of anger to cause violence, to cause I don't know, maybe irritation might be a right word, but whatever sets them off is the good things in you.
It is it doesn't matter what situation, you are winning a game that you didn't even know you were playing with them.
Okay.
So it is the understanding that you could be a better podcast speaker than somebody else. They want your voice. And so they're going to come and hate on you and say bad things about your voice. That is the indication that your voice matters, because that's the thing that they're honing in on.
Oh, so check the thing that they're honing in on. What are they making fun of you for? What are they doing? What are they doing against you And
That's actually the thing
what are
that you're winning at.
the words that they use and the things that about you that they make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that that you should focus on in yourself, and begin, and that's your awesomeness.
That's your awesomeness. That's the thing you have to begin to explore. But because they come and they say it in a negative way, in the way we were taught, or the way that we normally, right, our human just frailty is that we then think there's something wrong with it. But the truth is that because they're focused on it means they're thinking about it. Because they're thinking about it, it's top of mind. Because it's top of mind, it's important. Like,
yeah, I get it.
yeah.
It's really cool. Actually, it's really, really cool. Well thought out too. Really well thought out.
I didn't think of this. This was given to me.
Oh, okay. That's fine too. That's why. That's okay too. I was just trying to compliment you. No,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. No, I mean, in the gifting of it, right? Like some gifts are given to you over time, or my belief is that there are just some things that when you're in the right position at the right time and you're open, they're given.
That makes sense. But it takes education. And it does take things that, intelligence to be able to understand as well.
Absolutely.
Not everyone is given those things.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to say.
Thank you.
I think that I hadn't really looked at adult bullying as much before. So some of the times I'm kind of just thinking about things right now, kind of processing. But in a situation where you have, maybe it's not even it's usually a boss. It's usually someone that is higher up than you. Is there a way to maybe alleviate that, or without having to leave? There's the things that we can do to remedy the situation without actually having to leave the job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are. The first thing is to decide what you want, because there's different courses of action depending on what it is you really want. So if you want it to stop, then that could be a conversation with that boss to make them aware that it's happening and give them an opportunity to change. It could be that you make them aware and they don't change, and then you have to elevate it. The other thing is that it could be that it doesn't have to stop. You just need to have the workaround. And there are some people who are just like, I just need a workaround. They're a boss. I only meet with them once a month. I can tolerate it. Okay. Figuring out what you want and what you need is most important to then decide how to navigate.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a bunch of sense. So say you have a first-time client. They're coming to you because of a work situation where the boss is bullying. Mm-hmm. What do you tell them to do? How do you navigate that for them?
Yeah, it depends. If their spirit is broken, because sometimes, unfortunately, when they come to me, their spirit is already broken. Mm-hmm. And so I spend a lot of time first helping them build back up who they are, to then be able to decide the course of what do you want? Do you want to stay and navigate this, or do you want to elevate it? Do you want to report it, right? Like there's lots of different places. Mm-hmm. To heal the spirit, we must first go through everything that happened. And not from a place of tell me the story so I can know the story. It's tell me what was said so that I can share in where you are emotionally, but not at the exact level, but at a little higher level so that I can help pull you up out of this.
Yeah, that's perfect. It really is. You have to work on the person though, because you're right. When you're broken, you have to stand first. Mm-hmm. You have to get them to the place where they can stand and they can be rational and they can actually think through the situation.
Correct. And then we have to see the impact as well, because even though it was happening at work, sometimes some of the clients I work with, it has bled over into their personal relationships, to their ability to connect with their friends and family. And so we have to also work through that as well.
That makes sense too.
Yeah.
It's a difficult topic because like I said, it hasn't been talked about as much as it should be. And I think that I love having this on my show because it brings awareness to a situation that some people don't think about anymore. You know what I'm saying? Bullying's a huge topic when it comes to cyberbullying or it comes to kids. When it comes to adults, we don't talk about that so much. So I really appreciate what you're able to do and bring to the table today.
Thank you for having me. It's definitely something I believe we need to talk about more, and especially for Gen Z, millennials, but specifically Gen Z. They're not going to stay around as long as boomers and Gen Xers did to take it. And so even when we think about companies and stability, talented people will leave and take their talents elsewhere, and they might not even say anything about it. They just
that's
leave.
true.
And so there is an ROI in having the conversation for organizations that really want to help make sure that their talented people stay and they understand why. That if they're leaving, they need to understand.
That happened I was working at a factory, and that happened at our factory. It was just like a revolving door. It was just crazy. We had people leaving there that had been there for years and years and years. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. And it kind of boiled down to respect.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was like, I worked in manufacturing for 8 years in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm saying. And it was just, the money wasn't good, but the job wasn't that hard. So it's like, okay, I kind of see that. But people's main complaint was they just didn't feel respected. Mm-hmm. Their time wasn't respected. Oh, well, it's an hour before you got to go, but guess what? You have to stay. That's awfully nice. Thanks. 2 days before, you're working Saturday. Let's see. I had 3 interviews on Saturday that I really needed to do, and now you just canceled them for me. I know it's necessary sometimes, and I don't believe that's bullying, but I do believe that there's a culture of you're small, I'm big, you will do what I say.
So because of my background in working as an industrial engineer and in operations and engineering, it was what separated leaders from managers, from people that would bend over backwards to help get equipment up and going and running, and people that were like, you know what, you don't pay me enough for that, or you don't respect me. Mm-hmm. But that mentality comes from, just as you said, this sense of I'm bigger, or I'm salaried. I'm the salaried and you're the wage employee. No, we're all people and we all want the same things. How we do it is different based on our titles and the responsibilities, but we all want the same things. We all come to work to then feel like we're contributing in some way, and then so we can leave and pay our bills and take care of our family and live well. That's what anyone wants at work.
I had all this experience and all these things, and I came in just as a regular production person, And so I'm like, I like the people here. I kind of want to help them out a little bit. So I would tell them some things that they really should do and stuff. And some of them they implemented, and some of them they didn't. And they ended up having this attendance policy that was so harsh to me. And people that were really good workers had a situation come up. They would miss like a week or a couple of days, and it was like, no, they're fired. It got to the point where they had to change their policy because they lost so many good people. They didn't have enough people to actually run anything anymore.
Oh my goodness.
It was terrible. And it wasn't just them, but they're stuck in this age of, I don't know how we got on this topic, and I'm sorry if I'm going on and on, but I think they're stuck in an old West mentality, just Western civilization mentality. You got to work 8 hours. You got to be this production. You got to do this and this. Because why? Because it's been done that way. That's not a good enough reason any longer.
No, that's not. That's not. And it's pervasive in retail, especially.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah. I mean, and it is this, okay, well, we'll just find someone else. It's this constant revolving door. Mm-hmm. But you do erode you're eroding confidence within every individual every time you do that. And even if they leave and go somewhere else, whatever company that they experience that with, that's still a part of the brand. Like that's still their experience. And even they're going to be a consumer somewhere. So that's why I think it's small-mindedness that really lets bullying in and lets people feel like you're just, and then fill in the blank.
Yes, you're just insignificant in their eyes. You're small in their eyes. Yeah. And I guess if you want to take it that way, that it is kind of a management or upper management, at least, opinion of you. Now, I thought their upper management was really good. I thought they had a very good team. There was a few people that really ruined it. You know, just a few that just didn't get it. Yeah. And there was disconnect from the higher ups that had a really good mission, and they really understood, and they really wanted to be down on the floor with the rest of the people. And then the people that were on the floor as supervisors and this and that, who didn't share that same, it wasn't congruent, I guess I wanted to say.
So that's the middle. And that's a lot of the leaders that I either coach or go in and speak with. It's because they're in the middle and they don't have the vision, or that vision hasn't been cascaded down to them.
Right.
And some are fearful that if they only have one or two ways of managing. And if that doesn't work, then, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my job. So they're leading out of a place of fear. And usually when people lead out of a place of fear, it is top down. It is power driven.
I agree. No, 100% agree. Fear has so much to do with what we're talking about tonight. Yeah. Fear of losing my place, fear of, like in your situation, I really felt like that person was scared of you. And I said that in the beginning, but I really believe that a lot of the bullying comes out of, wow, that's a really good person. They could take my job. They're probably smarter than me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they have to make you look small to everyone else so they look bigger than you. Mm-hmm. Because if they don't, you'll take their job.
Yeah. Be more liked. You'll take their job, or you'll be more liked. You'll have more influence. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, when you have a bully, it means you're winning at a game you didn't even know you were playing.
Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful and really deep. It is. It's really deep because people don't consider that. They consider, hey, wait, I'm just nothing because this person keeps putting me down, and I'm just this little, whatever. And they kind of believe the narrative that they're spinning, or they turn to anger or all this other stuff, and that's negative emotions too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you can
help them find that.
Oh, yeah, if you can flip that into even just the smallest thing of the fact that they keep doing it means you're top of mind. You're the one person they're always thinking about.
That's something else. That's a revelation in some ways. For some people, this is going to be a game changer for them. It really will be. Because I don't think people realize, because of limiting beliefs, because of something we call the imposter syndrome, where sometimes you're in a position and you don't feel like you really deserve it. You kind of, I don't know how I got this job, but hey, fake it till you make it. No, I'm just kidding, but that's that type of feeling. And then if you compound that with someone that's constantly putting you down, it could get really worse it could get really damaging for someone deep down inside.
Yeah, because if they don't believe they're worthy of the job they have in the position, and then someone comes and says even the smallest of things, one snarky comment, and then that comment swirls in their brain over and over again, they start to believe it.
And especially when it's someone above them.
Yes, someone above them, yes. Or because the long coworker that's been there forever.
Yeah, that too. I had to deal with that. But it was funny because I came into this job like, I don't care.
Right.
No, I was too. And I was like, you know what? I ended up being a trainer or something for him for a little while. But it was like, it's not my business. You're the ones driving it into the ground. If you're going to do that, it's not me that's going to do that. Mm-hmm. So I was just there, I tried to help if I could, but I was just kind of there, put in my 8 hours. I'm going to go on a rant about that at some point or another. It's not going to be this show, but at some point, I'm going to ask everybody why they work 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I always ask that question. Where did 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week come from? Who said that was like the work week?
Well, I don't know who said that, but I know school seems to be really similar to that.
It is. Yeah. Oh, we should talk public education another day, like the whole factory mentality and how
Yes.
they,
And how it
that's
was
like,
created to
how is-
create workers instead of thought leaders. Yeah.
oh, that's yes.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole nother topic. But yeah, I think that, like I said, we have a struggle in today's society with anxiety, with stress, with depression, all these things. And how does that affect how we deal with bullying?
I mean, it's when you're bullied, all those things come onto you and you might not even know it.
Right.
You may not even know it. There are people right now, maybe listening, that are going to listen in, that are losing their hair, that have anxiety, that can't sleep at night, that have loose bowels, are going to the bathroom on themselves, all of these things that they think I'm just getting old. And the truth is that their body is so stressed, so wound up, tight for so long that when they have a chance to even think about going home, they're not even home yet. They're in their car. All of those muscles start to relax, which is why they have those symptoms, bowels, urine, like all of it starts to come out.
Wow.
Yeah, I learned a
That's an
lot.
amazing insight, really. It
Uh,
is.
I mean, when I went to the doctor, my doctor asked me about 15 questions of symptoms, and I was like, yeah. Like, has your eyesight changed lately? Yeah. Are you going right?
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
No. Loose stool? Yeah. Like, I'm like, I've had headaches. Yeah. You had some bladder issues? Yeah. Hair loss? Yeah. Those are all signs of stress and anxiety. You're not getting old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not getting old. And within a month of me leaving, all that was gone.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. I mean, it's the same with me in a way. I'm kind of high strung as it is. You probably can tell, but I I do think that the added stress and anxiety and depression and stuff can be very dangerous for people these days. There's a lot of depression going on, suicides and things like that. And you got to be careful, because if these people are being pushed at work, you don't know what kind of reaction they're going to have, either negative on themselves or negative on the other person that's doing the bullying.
Yeah, you have no idea where people really are in their mental capacity and
Yeah, when they're going to snap.
yes, they're going to snap. Or I believe that's why cancer and all these other things are on the rise, because when we shove it down, we say that didn't happen to me. That energy goes somewhere.
Yeah, true.
It goes somewhere. It has to, because energy is not lost. It's just transferred.
That's right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so when it happens and then you don't process, you don't let it out, you don't journal, you don't scream at the top of your lungs, go for runs, do whatever it is you need to do to get it out, then you start to press it down. Or you start to tell yourself a story that didn't happen, which creates mental issues of stress and what they call cognitive dissonance, where you separate the truth from reality and have this separation of a story.
Yeah. Could lead to dissociative disorders as well.
Yeah.
Like multiple personality disorder and
yes,
that
absolutely.
type of thing. It's amazing what other people, okay, I'm going to say it this way. It's amazing what we allow other people to have power over us, or how much power we allow them to have over us, is a better way of saying it.
Mm-hmm. It is scary. It is scary. And some of it's taught, because growing up, I don't know if you were taught this, but I was taught to respect your authority, right? Like respect those that are in charge. Like if you have a boss, you want to respect them. I've learned respect is earned.
That's what I was taught.
That's good. I was not taught that. I was not taught that. Respect is earned, though. That's what I teach my children.
I respect people from the get-go, but respect is earned. Mm-hmm. So to continue to have that respect, I need to be respected.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at on it. It's like, I'm not going to, like, I met you and I thought you were fabulous from the start. So it's like, I don't have no issues with respect here.
Right.
This is a really cool person. So I don't have no issues. But if someone was to come on and I had an issue, I would settle that quickly. And it's a matter of earning that respect, and not being a jerk to people and not, those type of things. So I'm really nice to people that are nice to me, and that they're not nice to me, I have to address it. That's kind of the way it is,
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like to say, I'll meet you where you are.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll meet you where you are. You might
And I
not
don't think that's not a negative thing. And I want people to understand that. I'm not talking about going half cocked and whooping somebody or some stupid thing like that. I'm talking about, let's have a conversation about it, about what's bothering you about me, or what I feel is bothering me about you. It doesn't ever have to go to physical or whatever, or being verbally abusive. No, so that's a whole different ballgame. I'm saying I can't let that continue just because I can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we need to have that conversation. If it's something that I have a problem with, I will have, say, hey, what's going on, man?
Address it. You want to address it. Absolutely.
I did that at work. I had this one really, real big guy. He was like, and he was just on me for a couple of days. And I walked up to him and I says, I'm not taking this anymore. You're going to back off, or, I'm done. That's enough. He's like, what do you mean? I said, you've been riding me for a few days now. So I'm not taking that anymore. Oh, I didn't mean to. I just come off like that sometimes. I really didn't mean anything by it. And I'm like, all right, cool. And we were cool ever since after that.
That is good.
But I couldn't allow it any longer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting in his face and being a jerk. I'm just saying, hey, dude, this is the way it is. I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that person a peer of yours?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coworker.
Yep. That's a good thing when you can address it at any level, you want to address it.
Yep.
We all have the power to do that.
Yeah, I did that with the supervisor guy too, and that was fine.
Supervisor was probably like, my bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that way. It was just they brought me in the office like twice to say, oh, you did this wrong. And actually, when they actually kind of did the research, it wasn't. So I was like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous now. I kind of talked to him about it. He was pretty cool about it, but it was like, you know what? I'm not 18 anymore. Right. I'm not a kid, and I'm not, because you can't work there at 16, or I would have said that, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I just can't tolerate it. So it's like, I'm not here to have this stuff happen. Mm-hmm. I'm just here to do what I'm supposed to do and go home. That's it. And I think that, since I left that job, I am so much more calm. I don't have the stress. You get the Sunday night stress when you got to go in Monday morning and you're just dreading it. Like, I can't believe this weekend is gone already.
Yeah, Sunday nights used to be the worst.
Yes.
And there are, I hate it. And there are a lot of people who sit on the couch Sunday night, usually actually around 4 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Mine was 2. Ooh. I don't know why, but I had to be up at 4 a.m.
Okay. So
mine was 2 p.m. It just started from there. And I got to the point where I just hated life for the rest of the day.
Yeah. But that's so sad, because it's half of your day.
Yeah. Yeah.
The day before. Yeah. I used to repeat this mantra. I love my job. It's the best job I've ever had. I would try,
I would have done that, but I can't lie like that. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. No, but can you tell everyone where they can find your stuff and what you have to offer? Because I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. So I have a book. It's called Be a Giver of Awesomeness. It is out on Amazon. So if you type in Giver of Awesomeness, you can find any of my stuff. If you go to giverofawesomeness.org, you can join my private Facebook group where I do trainings, talk about all things awesomeness and not.
That sounds good. We can put those links in the bottom too, down below here, so that you can just click on them. It makes it a lot easier for everyone. So we'll do that.
Okay.
Just send them to me after the show so I can get those in there. Everybody, I just wanted to say that we really took a while tonight, but I wanted to raise awareness about adult bullying because I think it's something that's very important for us to realize that it is going on. Number one, that it isn't being talked about enough, and that there is help. So if you do need that help, I would hope that you would reach out and talk to her and get a hold of her. I mean, she's obviously educated in what she's doing, and I really appreciate you being on today, by the way. It was an amazing talk. And I wanted to give you the floor for the last couple minutes. Just tell everybody just whatever's on your heart for the last, I don't know, whatever of the show.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. I think I'll leave everyone with the understanding that no one is coming to save you from your situation, but you can save yourself.
Wow.
And that is so important. So save yourself. Reach out, get the help that you need. You're not alone, and you don't have to live in shame or fear. So save yourself.
Save yourself. If you could, I would ask you to click the subscribe button and hit the bell thing so you know when the videos are coming out, and give us a thumbs up and whatever. I don't do that very well, but
I love it.
And you have a wonderful night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.